Hello and welcome to the Hold All Tickets World Pool preview in collaboration with the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Bet with the World. I'm your host, Alex Donnelly, back for another week of World Pool action here in Australia, but we're also adding in Meydan for Dubai World Cup night this weekend. Of course, headlined by Romantic Warrior heading over there, looking to win the Dubai turf. But this weekend, we do have races coming to you from Royal Randwick. It is day one of the championships there. We're looking at races 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then across in Meydan for the Dubai World Cup night, it is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a massive card of racing this weekend for us to sink our teeth into. Over in Dubai, the weather's perfect. It's sunny. It's nice. I'm supremely jealous of everyone that's over there. It looks great. In Randwick, obviously last week the races at Rose Hill were called off on the Saturday. They did run them on Tuesday. So look, hopefully the track in Randwick is drying out. There was some rain around. They did get more rain than Rose Hill. Currently rated in the heavy range. So hopefully we can get that to dry out a little bit and we're in for good days of racing. Now, of course, we need to mention the bet types when we come to the World Pool this weekend. Of course, you've got your standard win and place. You can have a bet each way. Cornella, Exacta, Duet, Trifecta, and First Four. So all of those available to punters on the World Pool here in Australia this weekend. Now, we need to get into the tips because, well, that's what we're here for this weekend. We do have a bunch of races at Randwick, as I said, and the first race of which comes up in race number 4. It's the Hong Kong Jockey Club World Pool Carbine Club Stakes for the 3-year-olds over a mile. And look, if Swift Falcon runs here and not in the Doncaster, he will probably win this race, but I think he'll be a little bit too short. So in this race, I'm actually happy to let him go around without my money being on. And if he doesn't run, well, then the race is completely open. You've got Evaporate coming back from New Zealand. Depth of Character hasn't shown his best form. Cacao looks like it's got plenty of ability. And Fingers Hunter has been winning down in the bush. So a lot going on in this race. So Swift Falcon here probably wins, but I'm happy to sit back and watch this race. Race number 5 is the Country Championships final, a race that is close to my heart, been from the country trying to win the race in the past. And look, this is one of the better bets of the World Pool punting day here for mine. It's number 1 Gallant Star for Brent Robb and Jason Collett. Absolutely smoked him at Canamble in the lead-up run there. Started very short price in the market, jumped, led, won, did it as easy as you liked, picked up about 80 grand on the way. It was like a paid barrier trial. And that had come after winning a country race in Randwick on Melbourne Cup Day last year, where he absolutely smashed him. He's a horse that keeps on improving. 15 starts for 6 wins. I think he gets the job done once again. He's drawn perfectly in barrier 4. He's adept in all conditions, good, soft, and heavy. Whatever you throw at him, he will absolutely eat up. The next race is race number 6, the Size Produce Stakes for the 2-year-olds who are stepping out over 1,400 metres here. Really interesting race here, of course. Rivanello, Wotan come through the Golden Slipper. They were fantastic in finding the line there. Look, I'm happy to have a Cornella in this race with number 2, Wotan, who gets Ryan Moore aboard here. Of course, J-Mac obviously in Dubai to ride Romantic Warrior. So cool, Moore being like, hey, Ryan, come ride at Randwick instead of Dubai on the weekend. And Wotan obviously being a very expensive colt for that partnership. If he was to win a Group 1, he's worth an abundance of money. But look, I thought he was great in the Golden Slipper. He showed some speed that I didn't think he had at the end of his run there. And I think the step up to 1,400 being by Woot and Bassett is suitable. Out of an Exceed and Excel mare, wet track's not going to bother him at all. Number 3, Vinrock is the other horse in the Cornella. So numbers 2 and 3 for the Cornella here. He's 2 from 2. He looks bomb-proof, this colt. From barrier 1, he'll jump. He'll sit himself on the speed. And as showed at Flemington last start in the VRC Size Produce Stakes, he's got one hell of a kick if you leave him alone. So good luck if you leave him alone in that event. Race number 7 is the TJ Smith Stakes. It is 1,200 metres. It is the biggest sprint this autumn in Sydney. $3 million. Of course, a lot of horses putting their hand up for the Everest in this, you would think. You can have an each-way bet on number 2, Jimmy Star for Kieran Maher and Ethan Brown. Thought he was awesome winning the Oakley Plate 2 starts back. And then just the way the track was playing at Moonee Valley last start, as soon as he missed the kick, it was race over. Your ticket was in the trash after about 3 strides. So happy to give him another chance. Randwick and 1,200 metres just looks like it'll suit him down to the ground. Having an each-way bet on him, but also having a trifecta with him, number 2, Jimmy Star, number 6, Sunshine in Paris, who's a Group 1 winner at Randwick in a wet track over 1,400 metres and did win the VRC Sprint Classic last preparation. Number 7, Jolly Star, absolutely smashed him in the Newmarket Handicap. So you've got to give her a chance coming into this off a trial as well. She looks to be in great form. And number 12, Traffic Warden, who will be pretty big odds. He's got good wet track form, and he was really good at an Everest in the spring of last year. So by each way bet, number 2, Jimmy Star, but a trifecta of 2, 6, 7, and 12. Race number 8, it is quite possibly my favorite race of all races around the world. It is the Star Doncaster. I love the Doncaster. I love a big handicap. I love the Randwick miles. It gives every horse their best chance to win a race. We're going to have 2 each way bets in this. First of all, number 3, Tom Kitten for James Cummings and Ben Melham. Of course, won the All-Star Mile 2 starts back. And then was good from a really tricky barrier in the George Ryder Stakes. That looked to be a bit of a, let's see how he's going before we get into the Doncaster here. Not saying they weren't trying, but they wouldn't have been too mad with the result. From barrier 1, he's just going to get an absolutely perfect run on the map. He'll just need a little bit of luck, and a wet track is no issue for him at all. The other one I'm going to have something on is number 8, Steffi Magnetica. I thought she was fantastic last start in the George Ryder, and that came after a bit of a weird run in the Canterbury Stakes, where by all yard reports, she had a lot of improvement to come from that. So you go back to last preparation, where she was 5th in a Golden Eagle, probably should have won that, and then she was 4th in a Cantala a week later. That form around Mr. Brightside will all stand up everywhere. Of course, Lazat has run really well around the world as well, and Ascoli Pacino was in the Golden Eagle who won at Saudi. So all the form ties in. It's great form worldwide from barrier 5. She's another one who's going to get a great run on the map. Finally, we finish up on race number 9 in Sydney. It is the ATC Australian Derby. 2,400 metres here, and we have a full field of 18 and a bunch of emergencies of horses trying to get into this race. And I'm having a horse who Hong Kong punters will want to pay attention to because he's on his way over to Hong Kong after this run. And that's number 4, Shan Hua, who's been bought by Hong Kong interests after winning a last start in the Alistair Clark Stakes and is going to be set for the Hong Kong Derby of 2026. He's had 8 starts for 4 wins, but it's this year that he's really come of age. He's 4 from 4. He won at Mornington and Meydan, won well at Caulfield, won the Autumn Classic, and then smashed them in the Alistair Clark when being on speed. Had to do a lot of work there, but look, he was really strong running through the line there. I think the step up the 2,400 metres is suitable, and the fact that Kieran Ma and the connections are running him here shows that he's going well. So if he wasn't looking like he was going to be up to this level at 2,400 metres, they wouldn't be running him, and he'd be on his way to Hong Kong at the moment. So happy to back number 4, Shan Hua, each way. All right, we need to get across to Meydan, where the action takes us into Saturday night and early Sunday morning for Australia and, well, punters in Hong Kong, of course, as well. Bunch of races there, first of which is race number 3. It is the Godolphin Mile. Of course, that is 1,600 metres. This one is going to be run on the dirt. And look, doing the form through this one, I was like, let's ease ourselves into the night. There's a lot of form coming from all over the world here with horses pretty tight on the rating scale together. So I'm happy just to sit back and let this one all unfold, and we can just enjoy the night and really ease into it as we've got some really hot racing coming up. So we'll have a skip over race number 3. Race number 4 is the Alquoz Sprint over 1,200 metres down the straight here. And I'm pretty keen to be on number 3, How Deep Is Your Love for James McDonald and John Size. Now, the best thing about this race for How Deep Is Your Love is he's not going to be chasing Car Ying Rising. He gets away from him for the first time. We've seen how well Car Ying Rising's been going this season. Of course, just winning for fun at the moment. Also gets away from Helios Express, who's been running quite well also. So look, How Deep Is Your Love comes into this. He's well rated, and the way that he's been racing in Hong Kong, provided he gets down the straight with J-Mac on board, of course, he's going to be very hard to beat. Race number 5, the next event there, and it is another one on the dirt. It's the UAE Derby over 1,900 metres here. Pretty tricky race, but I'm happy to have something on number 4, Flood Zone. The Frosted Colt from America had 3 starts so far, but has improved in each and every one of his runs throughout his career. Last start stepped up in distance up to the mile and looked like it suited him right down to the ground, really running away for a strong win there. So I think the step up once again to 1,900 metres here will be very suitable. Draws well in gate number 5. So look, if he can get a clean jump out from the gates and be up on speed, I think he's going to be pretty tough to beat. The next, which is race number 6, it is another sprint event here on the dirt. It is the Dubai Golden Shaheen, 1,200 metres on the dirt. No shock here if you were following us on the Saudi Arabia night a couple of weeks ago, where with number 9, Straight No Chaser for John Velasquez and Daniel Blacker, absolutely hosed up in the Saudi sprint last start. That was a Group 2 over 1,200 metres, won by an ever-widening 3 3/4 lengths. Could have won by 5 if he really wanted to. Started a pretty short price then, but look, I think he's that good. He's been that good this season. You just have a look at his form on the dirt. He's won his last 3 at Santa Anita Del Mar, and of course in Saudi Arabia. He's going to be extremely hard to beat once again. Provided he draws well, I think he'll get the job done once again. Now, race number 7, it is the main event. It is the main event for all the punters here on the World Pool and probably worldwide. It is the Dubai Turf over 1,800 metres, where we have an amazing field here. You've got Factor Cheval turning up. You've got Nation's Pride, Romantic Warrior, Soul Rush, and of course, Liberty Island. Now, it's no shock. Romantic Warrior is most likely going to win this race, provided he's taken no harm from that amazing run last start in the Saudi Cup on the dirt. He should be winning. He's going to be a very short price here across the World Pool. So look, if you're going to have a bet, have an exacta, I think, with Liberty Island. We saw how close Liberty Island got to Romantic Warrior in Hong Kong in December last year. She's been aimed up at this. This is going to be a great race. I just want to sit back and enjoy myself watching some equine superstars do their thing. We got the cash last start when we got Romantic Warrior beaten. Think he's going to win here, so let's just sit back and enjoy it because this is going to be one hell of a race. Get to the next race. It is race number 8. It is the Shima Classic over 2,400 meters. Look, this is an absolutely bonkers race. Jereza, Rebel Romance, Kalangdagan, of course, you've got Savina, Shin Emperor. This is a great race. I can't wait for it this weekend. But look, I'm going to go with the French horse here for the Aga Khan well, he's Irish bred, but he's a French horse trained there, of course. Kalangdagan, who I thought last season was absolutely fantastic. Didn't get the big Group 1 win on his CV, but look, he was second in the Champion Stakes at Ascot last year. He was second to City of Troy at York over 2,000 metres. A change of jockey this season, of course. We did have Stéphane Pasquier riding him last season, but we get Mikel Barcelona here, and he's been riding in fantastic form the last few months. So look, really happy to have something on him, but I'm also going to have a Cornella bet with him and number 8, Shin Emperor, who was fantastic winning last start in Saudi Arabia. It was a bit of a drop in grade, but it was a really strong win there. But then you just go back and have a look through his form. Second in a Japan Cup, was beaten in an arc, but that was on a wet track. Third to Economics in a Irish Champion Stakes. That form is legitimate, as is his Japan Derby form last year. So look, got to have something on those two in the Cornella because I think a Shin Emperor will run an absolutely fantastic race. Race number 9 is the final event on the World Pool Preview this weekend. Of course, it is the Dubai World Cup, over 2,000 meters on the dirt. How can you go past number 1, Forever Young? He got past Romantic Warrior last start in what was one of the great all-time horse races anywhere in the world that you will see. So he will win and get the job done once again. Very happy to back him. But I want to have the exacta on it with number 1, Forever Young to win, and number 10, Walk of Stars for Mikel Barcelona, who, look, went across to Saudi last start and was beaten by Forever Young, but you go back to his previous form at Meydan, absolutely hosed up in a couple of runs, won by 12 lengths in a listed event towards the back end of last year. And then in January, when Romantic Warrior won, that meeting Romantic Warrior won his first race in Dubai, he won a Group 1 there by about 3 lengths there, running away from them over the 1,900 meters. The step up to 2,000 meters shouldn't be too much of an issue. And the dirt at Meydan may be a little bit different than the track at Saudi Arabia. So I'm just hoping back in Dubai is suitable for Walk of Stars. So the exacta, number 1, Forever Young to beat number 10, Walk of Stars. Now that is all the races previewed this weekend for our friends at the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the World Pool. Of course, bet with the world with the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the World Pool. It is a massive weekend of racing. And we're not done here on the World Pool previews. We'll be back next week to preview 10 of the best coming your way from Royal Randwick for day 2 of the championships, headlined by the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. It's going to be an awesome race meeting. I can't wait to bring you that preview then. But once again, with thanks to our friends at the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the World Pool, bet with the world. We will catch you next week on the Hold All Tickets World Pool Preview.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.